Hey, and we're back. All right, so this is match two. Key takes the first match. Oh, is this stream gonna pop up?
Maybe.
Push it.
Hopefully.
Oh, does it mean that's not up?
There you
There
are.
it is. There we are. All right. So on my count, so on go. So 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Good luck, racers. So, match 2, coming off of a PB on one side and as within 7 seconds of PB on the other side. I'm assuming this is as much a mental battle as it is an execution one. Pushing past or equaling your all-time peak in a speed run. Now it is time to see if you can't bring the consistency up. So it is a run so nice we had to do it twice.
Given how exciting the first one was, we are looking for great matchup, great follow-up here.
Yeah, I said to both runners at intermission, I'm expecting double 1-1 races this time.
Museus wins the fast tour this time, so does that mean he wins this one?
Oh yeah, I guess I'd be curious to know, across the entire tournament, how often the winner of Split 1 has gone on to win the whole race. You know, the most important metric in a Death's Door speedrun.
Yeah, definitely. I imagine there is some correlation there. Probably if the difference is large enough, that's probably a bigger indication, but both of these runners within 20 seconds of each other, it really doesn't matter at that point, the early game. But yeah, I don't imagine it's as good an indication as it would be in other races. This race, probably the tightest one that we've had so far.
And they're only going to trend that way as we get closer and closer to our grand final. Very
excited. As you mentioned earlier, the winner of this goes up against Vareem, who has already qualified for the semis after a win against Upper Casserole. Shoutouts to all those runners who have done such a good job of making this tournament really exciting, really close, very high level of skill, seeing PBs back and forth between all the races, between all the runners. So.
And even setting aside all of the race PBs we've seen, I think most people who entered this tournament, and several who didn't and just got swept up in the tournament frenzy, have dropped their PB by multiple minutes since its announcement. So nothing quite like a tournament to kick everything into high gear.
Really has. Key gets hit the one time. Similar situation to last race, pretty much, where Key got hit early on and carried that health through to Guardian. Museus gets stuck on the corners. A very important part of this game is the movement. It's easy to overlook, especially in the face of all the combat that you have to do. Movement can play a huge part in having a fast time or having a slow time. This makes everything more consistent about your runs as well, because the RNG, the cycles of the enemy spawns are determined by timing. So if you have consistent movement patterns, you can take advantage of those better.
Let's see how just all these little things like, you know, isometric aim. As often as you can be moving diagonally, especially we'll see it huge in Lockstone, or we saw it huge last race. Being able to move smoothly across these grid-like layouts without losing too much time. Key taking another point of damage in that arena.
Both runners 1 health lower than they were last time. But pretty level on time, just a few seconds apart. Again, similar to last time, we don't really know what that will end up resulting in. We saw the lead switch a bunch of times with these minor time differences, so not really an indication of how the race will be going, but it is an indication that Key will be forced to be slightly more careful in his approach going into Arena 2 and Guardian possibly. If he takes a hit in Arena 2, everything goes out the window in terms of the plan. You have to adapt and possibly see a save and quit as well. So interesting times. Seeing these early hits taken by both runners could lead to some interesting divergences here.
Fortunately, as far as safeties go, the save quits prior to Guardian of the Door are not too punishing, but you definitely don't want to set yourself that far back in the first couple of splits of the race. Key opting for the safety seed early instead.
Smart, going to plant and take a heal here, looks like. Hundo strats coming in. Bear's paying mention here that Key is a very experienced runner of many categories. Museus more of a specialist in the any percent NMG, and very literally the first specialist probably of this game. Kind of made the glitchless category, glitchless route happen. Before that, like I mentioned, it was mostly glitched runs that used to be at the forefront of the speedrunning in this game. Key is at 2 health again. Did I miss something?
I don't think he actually took the heal from the pot.
He's gonna go back.
Going for it now.
Not being confident. So I do believe taking it early is faster. You just have to trust in yourself to not get hit again, though. Which for some reason I assumed Key went with that route, but choosing to play it extra safe and take the heal after, not a big difference. Means he is going to go in and probably out of this Guardian fight slightly later than Museus, although as I say that, Museus is on 1 health, so...
On 1 health and trapped behind, yeah, just gonna get out of there so as to avoid taking any surprise hits.
The split proving torrid for both runners. Museus gets through it. Scary moments there. Guardian, with the fast strats, very comfy if you execute perfectly, as Key is doing here, pretty much nailing everything, the damage cycle perfectly, and it looks really comfy in that situation. But as soon as it's not uncomfy, it is one of the hardest fights in the game. You have to, you really have to back off, play it extra safe to be able to get through it. At that point, you just want to get through it. You don't want to take a death.
Yeah, especially late phase Guardian of the Door. It is a surprising amount of things happening on screen for the second boss of the game.
So, it really is it's a big wall, not just in casual gameplay, but for speedrunning as well. Anyone who's newly learning the game, that is a very technical strat to get right. There's a bunch of moving parts, bunch of things you have to adjust kind of on the fly to really get it perfect. So the fact that it happens so early in the run makes it a bit of one of those like early walls for speedrunners as well.
Yeah, Museus, once again, setting up about 10 seconds in the lead as we go through the first cutscene. Going to lose an imperceptibly small amount of time to the language difference in this cutscene set. But for all intents and purposes, we'll once again ride that 10-second difference into Estate and Manor, so remarkably similar to last race.
We did see some ups and downs in Manor, where he took the lead back in Estate, then kind of lost it again in Implot, and then took it back again. So let's see how the script plays out this time. Definitely a lot of drama in store for us before this is all done. One interesting thing which I noted Museus saying during the race, during the intermission rather, is the fact that he definitely wants to win this race, but there is some part where you don't want to play a third race, and that's on the issue of tiredness. I can personally attest to it. Yesterday, I was so sure I was going to have to go to a game 3 because I was very sure I was going to lose my second race, and because of that, it was even more mentally exhausting to go through that second race, just knowing that you might have to do a third one. These races are extremely long, very taxing. You have to be focused for many parts of the run. It's not an autopilot run by any means. You can't really take your eye off the ball and just be looking at chat or just hanging out. So let's
you
see how
you get some
that-
big breaks at the beginning of the run, you get some big breaks at the end of the run, and other than that, you have to constantly be monitoring your fatigue, and I am curious, especially if this does go to a Game 3, if we will see any sort of adaptation in terms of strats, just for something that runners might be more comfortable with, or something that is necessarily less risky, especially looking at things like Lockstone, where we saw some very nice diagrams from both runners in the last race, but looking at, like, the multiple arrow shots from Key and the multiple attempts from Pothead Skip from Museus, where that line gets drawn.
Yep, it's a very significant part of race prep is all the stuff you need to do around it. Make sure you're well provisioned for snacks and like drinks and all those things which you need for this sort of endurance event. It really is an endurance.
Oh no,
Museus-
Museus falling off a little early there.
That's happened twice now. That's a big time loss for Museus right there. Key has meanwhile already picked up the soul, I believe, and is going to head into right side. So Museus going to have some catching up to do again. Pothead Skip, not his friend today, or at least in this race. It was pretty clean the first race, but showing how it can be a bit of a devil. Ooh, bit of a struggle for Key as well to clear out this first section. The mage getting away because an archer sniped him in the back of the head. So was forced to take it a little slow.
Yeah,
This mage
already
gets away.
just a rougher early game on both sides. Maybe pressure, maybe fatigue, maybe just bad beats. Hard to say, but we're especially going to be watching, I think, the middle of Manor very closely.
Yep, it's almost as if instantly you're seeing some sloppiness come into it, whether it actually is fatigue or just getting back, because doing the first run after a really intense run is tough to get back into the groove. That's kind of pretty much what you have to do in these races, is keep that intensity up. Much easier said than done. This right side, bit of a bully for Museus, gets 2 mage teleports, so somehow it actually turns out to be slightly slower than Keys as well. So neither runner doing able to showcase the best of their strats here. Key also low on mana, so has to go across. Just trying to get through this section right now. Estate is such a really, it's like drudgery when you get stuck in it and it's going badly, and you have no way out. There's really nothing worse in this game than a bad estate split.
Yeah, it is a bit of a composure check, because, especially at high level, it is highly unlikely that anything in a state just straight up kills you. Like, mages can be annoying, these arrow puzzles can be annoying if you're not on your game, but you're not going to take 4 damage from them. So it really is a question of how you keep up your composure if your strats are going awry.
And the part of it that makes it especially bad for Estate is if this sort of thing happened to either runner in a normal run, which they could reset, they would have reset by now. I know that already. Both of these runners are not going to be happy with what's happened so far. But given that there is no opportunity for that, they're just going to be forced to play through the pain here, swallow their anguish at this split. Oh my goodness, yeah, I'm like 30 seconds slower than last time for Key. It's going to be even a lot slower for Museus here, as well as a lot spookier as he's on 1 health, and there is the cutscene lock up ahead.
If you take an arrow to the back of the head while you can't move, especially if that kills Museus here, that would be, going on a hugely wide path.
no.
Oh no, the walking back? Okay, we're fine. Pothead takes the bullet for you.
That was spooky. But it does look like Museus enters about 30 seconds behind here.
Yep, but now the early game time save is in Imploft's hands again. We had a pretty synced up bad Imploft from our racers last run, so we'll see if the tides will turn or if the early game woes will continue.
This is honestly why it's very hard to get through Manor in runs in general, because in the most optimal condition, Manor can be really, really speedy. But when it goes wrong, it can go horribly wrong and make you quite demotivated. That can weigh on your mind to have a bad start to your run. Thankfully, both these runners have been doing no reset practices and preparing themselves, conditioning themselves for this moment. Let's hope it pays off, because you really need to have an iron mentality to be able to play through it. Key missing
He
it
once
again.
again getting trolled a little bit by the other web.
Unfortunate. That web, it's really annoying. It normally doesn't troll you so bad, but just Key having a bad luck today. Going for all lights pretty much on the Lickitung. Maybe something of an adaptation, like you said. Maybe feels more comfortable doing that. Even though it's not as fast, it just gets you through. Keeps you moving. It's more mobile than getting locked into place with the heavy animation, so. Oh, looked like the Lickitung. Okay, it didn't. It seemed like it iframed the green projectile. It kind of hits the side sometimes of the Lickitung, but from the damage it looked like it worked out.
Yeah, the little hop that the Lickitung did there when the projectile deflected was novel.
The Lickitung does like to hop around, especially if stuff spawns under it. When it's closing its shield, it can kind of get sent to the moon. And it is a potential cause of soft locks as well, so
Yeah,
definitely
I've
something to
seen
keep in there.
Lickitungs get halfway up the wall and leave. Just decide, nah, I don't actually want to fight you, protagonist.
This is looking like another 2 cycle for Key. I don't think he'll get the 1 cycle. But notice that he is going for upper casseroles, new strats, which, while slightly slower than the most optimal strats, is more consistent. He has maintained, if I'm not mistaken, that he was going to stick with the optimal strats, but probably made a decision in the last few days to go with upper strats. They are definitely more consistent and a lot more comfy. As we can see, Museus trying to do the optimal strats got hit twice.
Yeah, that we have seen that make just a little bit of a difference before, although Key is also taking this imp loft relatively cozy, even at 4 health, going out of his way to kill a fair few imps.
He had a hero imp block the first 2 shots, which is always like the worst way to lose time. Oh, Museus clean through imp loft, so we'll be saving a bunch of time here, I imagine.
Yeah. We'll check on the times here at the Avador light.
27 to like a 41-ish looks like. So he's already made up 15 seconds.
Yeah.
My goodness, amazing. That's kind of what Manor can be, just small mistakes, and the time difference between these runners is small enough that those really add up. I don't think either runner had a bad enough imp loft though that they will be going to skip Spider Lair now. So kind of the polar opposite of last time.
You know, an okay problem to have that your imp loft goes really well.
Definitely. Better than the alternative. Notice Museus did not heal, by the way, so going with 2 health, it's usually okay, even though the Grunt Arena probably is the more technical, more scary even, of any of the arenas in Manor. Especially when the grunts prior to it bully you a little, but worked out very well for Museus.
Key taking an early hit and then getting body blocked on the movement away by a grunt. And there we see the Lickitung try to escape from its confines. Not successful today, but you can never be too careful.
Clean on both sides, honestly, not really a big difference. He took the 1 hit and Museus maybe missed a few slashes while killing off the grunts, but it's very, very small margins again. Runners are very close together now.
So we saw Museus have a little bit of trouble with his own personal diagram strats in this next jar room. I'm assuming he goes for it again, tries to get the run back on that, and yeah, he is going right immediately into the room. Key's still on the conventional strat.
Much smoother this time from Museus' side. You can see he knows where he wants to go. It's not... last time it was almost like he was trying to figure it out again. I do like this bait that he has implemented into this strat, because without it you were forced to shoot that last jar from the stairs. That did feel a little slower, but by just baiting that purple pot to do the same job that Key made it do, it's nice, and just smart thinking from Museus to come up with these new strats. It's nice to have that level of expression in this game. You can do a lot of very clever things with the AI, with the combat itself. So definitely worth checking out if you're interested in doing cool tech, finding new tech. This game is still somewhat unexplored also to some extent. I would say there's a lot more to be done.
I mean, it's a speed game without many years in its lifespan. I remain convinced we have not seen it all.
Museus had probably the cleaner of these two fights, although can't really say that Keys was not clean, because he also cleaned up the mages within the first wave. That being said, this Museus has really closed the gap up here.
Yep, just like that. Manor said nope, and now the runners are neck and neck again.
Going into Avarice pretty much simultaneously. Note that Key's timer is a little behind, so they are a little bit slightly more separated than it looks, but it's very minor again, very close together. We'll do another time check at the end of this Avarice, because this is where things can turn around.
I believe last time the Ava 1 went in the favor of Key. I think a lot of the early game things broke in his favor. We'll have to see if Museus has tightened it up for race 2. He missing the deflect there, but otherwise very clean wave 1.
Just got hit the one time. It does clean up after that. Mostly okay, slightly slow, but mostly okay. Oof.
Just slashing it. Love that. Very, very bold move to just be like, nah, I'm not afraid of you.
This wave worked out really well for Museus. It could have gone horribly wrong, but it worked out pretty much perfectly. Last wave for Key and for Museus now. This is the determining factor, I guess, now, because they have been pretty much even, I guess, so far in these waves. Museus had a tough time in the last wave last time. Gets hit the once. The Kitang did close up once for him more than for Key, but neck and neck.
Yeah, remarkably close.
I think they leave pretty much at the same level as which they left, as which they entered, so. Keeping it close, keeping us on our toes, excited.
Yeah, just about 8 seconds here. So yeah, Museus brought it all the way back.
There is some aspect to heating up versus cooling down in these races. And again, I can attest from just personal experience yesterday that you can feel comfortable going into a second race if you have a lead, and that comfort can actually be detrimental, resting on your laurels and all of that. It's something to keep in mind.
Both runners are in fact opting for the spider lair souls, so that's good because it'll make the time comparison easy and fair for us, but also makes sense given the quality of both imp lofts in this run.
Museus did miss a lot of spiders in that second. We're going to see a down slash. Only gets the one more. So little short probably going into ruins, but nothing a few extra grunt kills can't solve.
Yeah, just something to be mindful of as we progress through ruins, but certainly by no means run ending.
This time we do have the splits themselves to give us an indication of whether the runners are on PB pace. Because they are accurately turning red now, for Key at least. And I believe for Museus as well.
And we get them clapping together. You love to see it. 3 cheers for leg day.
Ray Leg Day. Leg Day is the best. Amongst many other best characters in this
Yeah,
game.
a lot of top tier NPCs here. Last time through, we saw Museus take a safety lever and then have a pretty flawless runes after the safety lever. I'm wondering if we go for it again here.
It's nice that they're synced up because you can notice how much small differences in movement can actually affect. Like Key taking a little bit longer on the lever meant that he fell behind a bit more, and also rolling into a corner. So it's nice to see it live in real time, how small differences can affect the runners. Again, Key rolling an extra time before arrowing this bomb plant, but small differences like that in the big scheme may or may not affect it, depends how close we end up here.
Right, that was a good bomb placement from Museus, and yep, at the door, going to mop up the extra grunts, looking to clean up that soul deficit.
Still made like one short from ideal. Key is on par with what he wants, actually quite a bit over, so Key is perfectly set. Museus also gets the extra kill to make up for it, so no problem for either runners from here on out from in soul perspective.
And that little geometry skip there where you just sort of walk around the wall is funnier things in this game. I remember the total disbelief in DD Cord when it was first discovered that, oh, you can just like walk there, and first try bomb skips on both sides again.
You see the Kronk again. Museus is on 3 health again, so sticking to plan A.
If the strat ain't broke.
See some simultaneous staircase arena here. Or Vine Arena, heard both names. Key had a much cleaner time of this last time, was going for all the deflect strats and hit them very cleanly. This time gets a bit stuck in this wave, which allows Museus to get past him once again. And once again, the miracle of synced viewing shows you that combat can really affect your times. Just one wave was pretty much the only difference between the runners there.
Yeah, so Museus a little bit ahead in real time. I think he's still a little bit ahead, although getting caught on that corner bear is not great. A little bit ahead in loadless time, but it is very, very tight. We'll check in again at the smooth jazz.
Yeah, it's very exciting when the runners are so close, and it's even better that their game load times are not so far off that it's just a red herring that they're close together. They are actually close together in IGT and real time. Pretty much the ideal situation for us viewers. We are the ones who are really winning this race. Museus misses the mage on spawn. He moved away from it really quickly. Surprised to see. Same with Key. Both missing the mage. That's, I would say, the most crucial part of this arena is to kill that mage on spawn. The rest of this arena is pretty straightforward, as they're showing here. Just bomb everything to death. But both runners making their way through with enough health that even if they get sniped or get hit by a bomb before the forest horde, no big issues. So comfy from here until the jazz cutscene. We can all take a little bit of a breather.
Please enjoy this lovely smooth jazz.
On a horn. That sounds like not a horn, but it's called a horn, and it doesn't really look like a horn unless it's some version of a horn, which I'm not aware of. But yeah, very beautiful, calm cutscene. Nice
Yep,
stretch
so-
break for the runners.
Drop your saxophones in the chat. We are 2 seconds separating these runners, and seeing Key in chat. Angie. Sure.
He has a good right to be angry. It's not going all according to plan. I would say not all according to plan for either runner.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
But going into dungeon with what is 2 seconds? Like a single spider hop, 2 spider hops of difference between these runners. It makes for some entertaining combat sections here in Mushroom Dungeon for sure. This also was, of course, the first place that we started to see a major divergence between the runners. This is where Museus had to take a safety save and quit in order to top up on health. So that was our first, longer than 10-second gap. We've already seen a gap spread out to longer than 10 seconds, and then it closed right back up, so we'll have to see how high variance Mushroom Dungeon is feeling in this game too.
This once again not picking up the seed. I haven't kept an eye, but I imagine he has the 1 seed. Did not need to take any heals in ruins. But the 1 seed last time did not prove to be enough for dungeons. We will have to keep an eye out as he takes an instant hit.
2, that's bad. The fire plant's being a little bit bully here.
Once again, he's missing hitting the bomb plant. You want to arrow the bomb plant, but the fire plants can eat that arrow with auto aim. So definitely something to note for Museus potentially.
Right, there was a very clean last wave of this arena from both runners, but Key's 4 health to Museus' 1. I would not be surprised to see some sort of safety in place here from Museus. Arena 2.
Just save and quit right here.
Spiders. Yeah.
That is the fastest place to save and quit. You don't have to walk out of this arena. You will have to do the roll skip again and have to obviously walk all the way back to the room that Key is already walking out of. So this does bring some separation in again. Museus unfortunately having to do save and quits twice now in each race, basically once. So dungeon, a spooky place. Museus just showing it for us all to see in plain sight.
Yeah, dungeon is pretty much the classic sort of Zelda-like formula where it starts out remarkably linear, and by the end it is a much more interconnected open thing. But in the any percent run, where you're just going through the one critical path and then noping out of the area essentially forever, it's a very linear experience, and so having to save quit early means backtracking through large swaths of the dungeon.
Key had a very clean arena, Museus also a very clean arena, so just par for the course here. Which is nice to see. That's kind of what you want, is just clean, consistent play, not rolling into those Venus flytrap plants and getting hit. Unfortunate.
I also love all of the little geometry skips here. That's all relatively recent tech as people got more and more accustomed to the movement in this game and just the ledges that the protagonist has tendency to walk over. There was a flurry of, oh, you can just hop over this, essentially, and it's funny to me every time. As now it's Key's turn to be on 1 HP here. Last
wave and the spider left. This last wave can be spooky if one of the spiders decides to jump early, but if that's not the case, you're okay. Particularly this last spider here around the corner.
Yeah, especially when spiders get caught on the center geometry there. sometimes their attacks are not always immediately exactly what we saw with Museus there. Not always the easiest thing to follow.
Museus just doing a little demo there. Key will have to heal here. Museus will just walk out. But somehow Museus is really not far behind despite that save and quit. Key just having a hard time in this Crow 3.
We will have to see what Water Arena does for our runners, or does to our runners.
Museus did have some trouble with this puzzle as well last time. Key has made his way through cleanly.
That double hit necessary on the vine. Nope, still gonna get the key from... Still going to acquire the key item from Museus there in time. The first time. Heard it as soon as I said it.
Yep. Acquire key. Wonder what words Key will have to say about that. But both runners having a good first wave so far. Museus will be looking for this deflect to finish it off. Key meanwhile moving into the last wave.
Yeah, once again taking the larger workspace for the final wave.
Let's see if Museus goes to bridge. Yep, he goes to the bridge this time. This is a more standard strat rather than going up to the corner there. Makes it a lot more comfy. In my opinion. Very clean, very clean fight from Museus here. Both runners basically just zooming along. I think they both know they're hot on each other's heels. It's hard to say who's hot on whose heels. They're just neck and neck.
Yeah, Museus, once again, we see a larger scale time loss, a save and quit, and need to go on to a backup strat, and then just absolutely muscling through the combat to make up the time loss. And we are once again within 10 seconds of each other, going into Avarice 2. Maybe a hair more than 10 seconds, but very close for sure.
Yeah, looks like about 12 seconds at that quit out, or at that load time. So nothing that literally cannot be made up or lost in this Avarice alone. Not to speak of the many splits we have remaining before us. So a lot more to come here. We're still fairly early in this race. It can go either way.
Yeah, the things that truly kill you, as we saw last time, are lying in wait for the back half and realistically the back third of this run. Although both runners, once again, taking some early damage here in Avarice 2.
Oh no, Museus.
Taking... Oh, and Key.
Oh. Whoa. It's hard to keep an eye out on both runners now because both are very spookily placed for the rest of this Eva. The hardest waves yet to come. The spiders, pretty much, I would say, the hardest wave to clear out at 1 health.
HP spiders are a bit dicey. Yeah, you see right there, Museus absolutely gunning for spiders that even try to inch into the darkness. And Museus still going for the Green Mage deflects on 1 HP, which is wild to me. I would live in fear of those Green Mages on 1.
You saw that roll away from the lantern at the last second. That lantern lighting can kill you, and if it does it soon enough at lighting, it seems to be a narrow window where you may or may not get the reset. We did see Matt get that Matulu in an earlier race where he died in Eva 3 and still managed to get out of it without having to do it. But I have seen other runners have to reset a run there because they died to one of those torches lighting and just the Avarice was reset. So good to see they didn't have to do that. Museus getting through.
And yep, once again, we have returned to our 10-second gap, and Key is still angry.
I can imagine. Key's anginess will continue. Just because once your run starts off badly, it's hard to salvage that feeling of satisfaction that you get with a run that starts off well. So, small thing. You just kind of have to push it out of your head. Very hard to do that, but that's the the part of the mental game which is introduced in these races, which is very different from PB running or just regular speed running. Both runners thankfully had enough soul, by the way, to
Yeah,
get.
saw Key do the quick double tap the menu to just be certain. Was 15 over, which is surprisingly high, I think, given Givens, but not complaining about being over in a race setting for sure.
Yep, definitely comfy. Just moving through Stranded Sailor now. Really nice music here, so definitely enjoy it. It's the more unique instrumentations in this game. Very, very diverse music in this game as well. Like a bunch of different styles. Shoutouts to David Fenn, who, as Quack mentioned, is going to be part of the Q&A with the developers. So if you have questions about the music beyond just the game, definitely join the Death Store Discord. Ask your
Or if
questions.
you, like me, simply want to heap praise upon the sound and composition team for this absolute banger OST.
It's really the best way to describe it. It is beautiful banger of a soundtrack. Key once again checking for something, not sure what, but did do a quick unpause there. Maybe a seed count check, potentially, but you don't really need seeds in Lockstone. Thankfully, every arena is separated with a save and quit. One of them, the save and quit, does lose 2 seconds, but the other ones, it is optimal and actually required to save and quit, so. One of the more
Alright.
comfy sections.
We
Simultaneous-
got another visual sync. You love to see it.
The door slam was very satisfying.
All right, so now we get to see the movement masterclass as well. Shout outs on the subject of like run prep.
Oh.
He's going for it.
Oh no, this is why you don't do it. This is why you don't do it.
I love the confidence. They're like, hey, we're even. It's time to pull out the shenanigans. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, Key got shenanigans back, and you see the camera shake in frustration. Oh no.
That particular one is hairy. I don't want to say don't do it, honestly, but you definitely should do it if you're going for like PBs. It saves time. In a race, it is more of a dubious decision, especially since if you mess it up, it can take a toll again on your mental game rather than just the time. Key also on 2 health as a result, potentially. So
Yeah, I assume at 2 we probably see the save quit before Bomb Strats Arena. On 1 you certainly do. Looks like he's rolling away there, so that does indicate that we might be walking out of here.
it depends how risky he's feeling. You can do it on 2 health, but there's really no reason to. You only lose a couple of seconds. Yeah,
Nah, he's
just
gonna be the save quit. Alright.
thankfully. Not playing games with our hearts. Key calling me out as a dubious situation. That is a separate matter, true as it may be. But that puzzle strat, I will say it is scary, is all I'll say. Like if you're very confident in it, definitely go for it. It does take practice to nail it, though, I feel. And
Yeah,
even if you're very practiced, you can mess it up more easily than other strats.
Yeah, we are certainly at the level of runner where these little incidental time saves matter. That's not a strat I go for. My PV in Death Store is about 20 minutes behind these folks. It's a question of how much time, what strats are you using to save to what PB threshold. That's how it is in all speedrunning. Diagram strats are very cool when they work, and they can get away from you, like this arena appears to have gotten away from Museus, but nope, gonna make it through the crystal.
Very
Just
spooky.
enough health. You only need the last point.
Had to fight through basically all of the last 2 waves on that 1 HP. So I guess he loses some time back to Key here, but not as much as if he would have died. So playing it safe Smart thing to do there. Very, very scary situation to have gotten into, though.
All right, but we
both
do
runners-
have a lead swap with that Crow Soul. Museus is pulled ahead by 1 second.
Oh my goodness. He's skipping the seed here. Just playing all out, not even wasting time to hit those crates to get the seed. Definitely one of the freer seeds on this route, and I'm guessing that's why he did do the seed check earlier. He has the 2 seeds. He feels confident going into Watchtowers and Fortress with the 2 seeds, so made a game time decision to ignore that particular seed there. These small time differences can obviously really matter, especially when we're this close. Oh no, Key missing this puzzle. Goes for the backup, but did end up breaking both paths back to the switch, so I had to wait for that to respawn.
Yes, that's like a couple seconds. None of these mistakes are unrecoverable by any sense, by any stretch of the imagination. But we could start to feel, certainly viscerally with the camera shaking, start to feel the frustration mounting. And Watchtowers is not an area of the game that you want to enter already a little frustrated.
Museus had fairly clean arena. The mage got away for 1 wave, 1 teleport. Key, I imagine, will immediately kill the mage right here. Oh no, gets the snipe. That is the bane of this strat. The roll slash, you can get sniped. Oh no, a death in Crow 3. This is big, folks. This really puts Museus in a big lead, because this long walk back for Key.
Yeah, even not having to redo the puzzles, that is just like 5 rooms of a walk of shame, which in an otherwise pretty accessible dungeon has Key getting trolled by geometry too. Alright, this is now Museus' race to lose. Will we see... I'm pretty sure this is about equivalent to a Betty death, although no, Key does have to redo the whole arena, so maybe even a little bit more devastating than that. But now all eyes on Museus.
He was on the last wave when he died, so probably the worst place to have died in this arena. Worst time to have died in this arena, rather. Museus does miss the swag deflect that he got last time, but at this point, just has to play it safe and get through. Key back on 2 HP. Oh, but gets the kill off.
No
I thought for a second he was gonna get clipped by the halberd, but thankfully.
No arena beats one of our runners up twice.
Definitely did not expect Key to have issues going through it twice. Going for some vengeance as well. We'll now try to be zooming. I wonder how much the extra pressure to zoom can cascade, like you mentioned. These things definitely in this game, if you try to go over fast, it can actually only be to your detriment, really, because there is a rhythm to all the fights. You can't really force them more than we already do. If you try to force them too much, you will get hit. The enemies just have their own rhythms. You have to respect those. So.
Yeah. Honestly, we just saw my favorite example of going over fast. Not actually, but that key quit out. If you save quit before the key icon pops up in your inventory, the game hasn't registered that you actually picked up the key. So you just have to walk back. I have definitely cheated myself out of some golds in Lockstone by doing that.
Yep, we in fact did see that in a race a couple of days ago as well, where we had a quit out after Crow 3 on the Crow pickup instead of going to the key. So not unheard of, definitely at all. Very common mistake. Key had a very clean Arena 4, so made up some time on Museus there, who did have a little bit of an issue there. Especially in the first wave and in the grunt wave. But let's see how Avarice treats Museus. Missing a few deflects, but the maid spawns are really kind to him.
Yeah, Museus having some really consistently incredible mage RNG. But
yeah, you see that telltale sign of someone who's walking towards the center of the arena because for a second they don't remember exactly what wave is coming next. And that does happen very often, especially if you, like Museus, hasn't done the race, done the run super often recently. So maybe having to refresh his memory. Gets hit once by Smo. Ideally, you don't want to get...
Museus pulling away from the left butt cheek for a moment too long there.
Wanted to hug Smo from the front, you know? None of the side hugging business. It's a real friend.
Dangerous place to hug him from.
He's just being a real pal, you know? Real friends don't do side hugs. Like he getting started with this as Museus was finishing up.
It's still going to be not an insurmountable time deficit for sure. And oh no, Museus died. I know we already used that joke today, but I don't care.
Just trying to emulate Key's earlier death, paying it back a little. Key got hit the once there, but really not a bad place to have gotten hit. He kind of had to wait for these slimes to show up. Also kind of doing a front hug for a second there, but goes back. Gets through it though. This is going to be slightly over a minute, looks like.
Yeah, so again, nothing a Betty Death can't solve. But I am rooting at this point for Museus to get the run back.
Yeah, we haven't had a three-parter so far. Every race has finished off in 2 games. And if there is one which is going to go the distance, this one on paper is the most likely, as you mentioned all the way at the beginning. 4th seed versus 5th seed coming into this tourney. Of course, all the seeds were decided based on the NMG leaderboard at the start of the tourney, which has seen a huge amount of shake-up since then. So, things are different now, but to say nothing of the fact that these runners still are very, very close together in skill, in execution, technique, everything. He's just going for this long diagonal. I have seen him go for this on the ladder every time. Love to see it. Most runners do prefer to roll once to make that shot more consistent. He's just sticking to his guns and going for the long shot. He is on the comfy section of the elevator split. Museus is on the uncomfy section, so let's... Oh! Museus messing up for a second there, did not switch to arrow. There you go.
And gonna get gate skip in 1.
Now the mana situation on Museus' side, you have to keep an eye out because he has... There you go, he did switch to arrow this time, not making the same mistake as last time, making a different one by falling off instead.
Gotta keep the variety.
If he had fallen off after lighting or rather pulling the switch, it actually would have been 0 time loss because you have to wait anyway, but these are just conjectural things. At this point, he's just going to be happy to get out of this split and move into watchtowers and some more combat. This combat today has been fairly clean. In this run especially. And now it's Key's turn for the sequence of skips.
Yeah, both runners got gate skip first try in the last race, so points to some amount of practice for this finicky geometry silliness.
Oh.
Yeah, there is the
some frustration there, very visible.
Gotta get it in 2 though.
It goes. Key has very interesting strats here. He does go for the diagonals. He has a few different setups. This is not the one which I've seen him do most often. He does do a diagonal arrow shot, if I'm not mistaken, from the side sometimes. But shows you the variety and the wealth of strategies in that room alone, and shows you the level of dedication that Key has, not just one, but a few tricks up his sleeve to deal with that room. Real veterans, really good race here. There's no two ways around it. Very high quality racing.
Yeah, like our highest single time loss in both this and the prior race has been on the order of a single minute in an almost 90-minute run. We're at the high end of the gaming here.
Foretold crow music for Museus. We do hear it very briefly, but one of the more calming songs in the game. A bit of breather before you head into the Watchtower's Gauntlet, which Museus is entering now. Arm Day blessing key there with the hops.
When I first learned that enemy was called Arm Day, I lost it. That's perfect. Absolute perfection in terms of the community coming together.
Community has been very nice about not just coming up with new names, but being very accepting of the new names. So it's been
all names
time.
except for one.
I'm scared to ask which one.
Smuff.
Oh, okay. I see.
Museus going for the early hop strat again on the halberd. Seems like it was a much cleaner quick kill this time.
Oh, nice. 3 roll slashes and using the laser. He does go all the way to the left here again. So it wasn't a mistake last time. It seems like a deliberate strategy. But seems very scary to me right here. Is on 2 HP. The boomers are okay to deal with, the ones coming up. In bad situations though, the perspective can mess you up. They do jump up in a way that you can kind of track their shadow and figure out where they're going to land. And if you have enough understanding of the game, you can kind of predict that where they're going, but it can always surprise you. So good on Museus, taking the heal early. He has 3 more seeds, so he is very stacked.
Yeah, made all the right safety calls early. Now can just sort of reap the rewards from that. Although falling off for this skip.
It's not using mouse here, which really is a highly recommended way of doing that. Otherwise, you do end up doing what Museus did, just kind of shooting in the dark, trying to get that hook shot. But at the same time, you have to be comfortable switching between controller and mouse. If you're not, then it makes sense to stick with controller.
Yeah, even as an avowed mouse hater myself, I switched to mouse for that trick, because the ability to just hover directly over the hookshot point is really nice.
He did take. He didn't actually take the hit. I thought he took the hit in that last part with the hammer bro, but I guess he did roll out of the way. I was gonna say even if he did take a hit, that would have lost no time, because at that point you're waiting for the. It's kind of a damage trade at that point, and you don't really lose any time waiting for the hammer bro to die. But much more comfy to head out of there with all 4 health, with the possibility of making it all the way to Ice Arena with full health, as Museus is just doing. The grunt is...
There he goes.
Thankfully. Scared for a second. The bridge did despawn right under that grunt. Poor grunt takes a bit of a dive. He's leaving the roller alive this time. Last time he had a mage alive, I believe. The roller is annoying, but at the same time it can damage the hammer bros and other enemies while rolling around, so it can damage
Museus, who is once again on 1 health at the end of Ice Arena. This would be a very taxing death if he were to take it.
This will turn the race completely around if it does happen. And the fact that he had 2 waves to deal with, iframing through that flame plant is scary in itself. You can get hit if the iframes run out of the hookshot.
Yep, Alright. Hammer bro on ice. How confident are we feeling? Nope. gets shot at point blank range, and that's instantaneously a lead swap.
No shortcuts taken. Has to redo the entirety of Watchtowers. We have discussed before what is the worst place to die in these races, and conjecture has very often been that it's this particular exact situation that Museus finds himself in.
Body checked by the grunt off the side there too, you hate to see it. Yeah, this is easily multiple minutes of backtracking. It can be kept relatively short if you die early in Ice Arena and if you had opened the final shortcut beforehand, but having to walk all the way around this side again, and with this healthy halberd jumping all the way around.
No, this could be a soft lock. No, it's not, thankfully. Those sort of hook shots can result in a soft lock if you fall into the void while hookshotting. The only way out of those is Alt F4, but thankfully Museus can continue limp on through to Ice Arena. Key, please.
Key, not you too. Bombs.
Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, this bomb will kill it, thankfully.
Okay. I really appreciate the restraint there to not bomb the approaching Hammer Bro. That hitbox looked very, very close. We would not want to see a double Ice Arena death, but Key gonna make it to Betty.
He probably smells blood in the water now. He has been listening to comms, so he probably is well apprised of the situation as it's developing. Probably knows that he may not have to go as risky now, so let's see if we see that adaptation come about. He has been playing very risky and going all guns blazing so far, but knowing that Museus had an Ice Arena death can be a big change in mentality, because poor Museus is still making his way back.
Yeah, just now approaching the Ice Arena.
It's incredible how long this walk is. It's hoping that the grunt will die, but it does not. It actually makes its way through. So an extra grunt here to deal with.
And Key once again with a very clean Betty. Giant Soul gets the roll skip, gets the fast kill.
Museus is on the 3 health now. He did have a bunch of issues in this wave. There we go. It starts off with the flame plant.
Oh no.
This is not going well. And he's going to get hit potentially by the boomerang. Just about avoids it. The flame plant shooting flame is not making the situation any more comfy, but whole last wave to go again with 1 HP. Last time it was the archers that did him in. The race before as well, we didn't really commentate on it too much, but it was the same archers which almost killed him and made him lose upwards of 5 seconds because he was just dancing around them on the steps. Kills him off early, kills off the Hammer Bro very, very bravely, going for the 3 cycle. They're getting the 3 hits in the last cycle. Scary moments, but gets through without another death. At that point, I guess it's the best that we can ask for, but we are basically a whole Betty split and more apart at this point.
Yeah, Betty split and some cutscene time as well. We will. I've been glued to the screen. We'll check time. I got Key's timing for the world's best Lord clap, so we'll check our exact time differential there once Museus wraps up. But now we're back on the Betty split, and it's on Museus to have a cleaner Betty.
He did. He didn't really have clean Betty last time, died once, and the second fight was also a bit sloppy, so he's in a good position here. I personally actually like being wedged against this corner so that even if Betty does roll, the rolls are really short.
Yeah, roll skip successful. That's what you need right now. Can't be losing more time to the Yeti.
At this point, though, you have to question, will Key relinquish the lead again? Has Museus kind of lost his chance, or do you think there is another twist in the tail here?
There is certainly a whole lot more race to go. We saw Key get considerably more bullied than Museus did in Flooded Fortress in particular. Like, Key had, I think, a third or fourth try Mage Hookant. So if that spirals out of control further, then that could very easily parlay into a death. And also, Grey Crow is not to be trifled with. I think, based on the cleanliness of the gauntlet we saw from both runners, there were a couple missed Incidors, but nothing too dicey. I think those are the splits that are likely going to do it if we were to see another lead change in this race. But once again, Museus has to work twice as hard, and potentially Key has to drop the ball in order for us to see the game 3.
And this is not to take anything from Key's race, but we do all want the race 3 just for more content. These runners have really put on a show. It's been exciting from start to finish, so I want to see more of this happen. But not gonna curse anyone, not gonna do any of that. That just happens naturally.
Who would ever comms curse a runner?
Key getting the Kipo role, his namesake role. Did find that, and it has been pretty much universally adopted. Looks spookier than it is. Very cool. One of the cooler perspective roles. Key going for landside skip, gate skip again, missing it and getting the Kronk again. Museus going for... Sorry, I just noticed Museus goes for the hook shot on that Venus flytrap or Piranha plant or whatever you want to call it. That's somewhat new. I think I've seen some people, including Upper, do it recently, so more expression.
Old Hat still has some new tricks up his sleeve.
Definitely. It's really showcased it today. In particular, I have to say Museus combat is one of the things which we expected, I guess, as someone who is very experienced in a bunch of fighting games. But it is very nice to see the cleanliness and the innovation as well, trying out new stuff all the time. Let's see how Fortress treats Key this time. It was, like you said, a bully a bit, but as long as it's not a big bully, as long as there's no deaths going on. Ooh, trying to open the shortcut again, much less smooth this time because Boomer is in his way.
Still able to get it, and I think still smart to go for. Hold on to your lead here. With the early death from Key, I don't think he's got his eyes on a race PB at this juncture. So, just anything you can do to get the W.
And that might actually be, again, like testament to the psychology and how it can affect how the race develops. That Key, who is, as we said, kind of listening in on comms, the fact that he was behind for a while and was visibly frustrated about it, and the fact that he is now ahead, is very likely to mean that he will work extra hard to protect this lead and be willing to do safer things and go slower as long as he's able to win out at the end.
Right.
That's my conjecture. That was very clean.
We see it happening here. Taking a little bit more time on the setup than he did in last race, and handsomely rewarded for it. And this arena is going to be, like you mentioned last game, fairly trivial. Just hop over to where the enemies spawn, kill them off one at a time.
Note that Key also opted to Kronk the other safety Kronk, which we don't normally do because it does save time, obviously, to get it if you do die. And that now that situation has developed that it might actually happen that Key is in that situation, but takes the heal. Good stuff there. This arena is no longer an auto-scroller as a result of that. The mage did get a spawn and a teleport, and looks like we'll get another teleport, so slightly slower. But again, as we just said, Key is just looking to close this out. No more deaths is all he wants. Just wants to get through. Whoa!
Key, you good there?
The crow cannot swim or fly. Key just testing out the boundaries of the game though for a second, making sure that that is in fact still accurate.
Alright, so we are gonna take the safety save. Just go up to 4. Yep, no reason to No reason to worry about it, so we'll check on the Enter Frog King, or we'll check on Frog King title card.
And this is, yeah, very clearly immediate adaptation by Key, going very much slower than he was going in the last race with PB in mind, amongst other things.
And this time it is Museus' turn to get a little bit bullied by Mage Hook and there, but is still going to get it. 2 health, but I feel like Museus has the seeds for it.
Yep. And once again, just going to try to go fast. Museus really needs to just play top speed. You do want to take that heal before the second wave spawns. In the second wave, you don't go on that right side anymore. Maybe Museus has just planted it as a safety. Doesn't really intend to take it unless things get really out of hand, and in that situation, he'll be okay walking up there. I imagine at this point, if things work out, he'll just choose to take the door, save, and quit.
Don't mind the archer.
Oh no. Visible, visible signs of distress there from all of us. We were just really scared for Museus, but gets through. The seed is ignored in that part, and he'll just take the save and quit. Quick Frog King death. That's the quickest it really can be. Killing it on the left side before it gets off more than the 3 splits. Very cool. One fight ends, the other begins.
Yep, once again, runner's doing us a solid. Alright, so yeah, about a minute 45 at the Frog King title card of separating our runners. So once again, we are looking to the Grey Crow fight, and I think to a lesser extent, but still very possible, the Gauntlet and the Ultra Lord fight. Because Furnace is, we've pointed out some missed cycles, a couple things that can go wrong, but it rarely straight up kills you. I won't say never, but it rarely straight up kills you compared to Grey Crow, compared to Lord of Doors.
Yes, there's definitely no one in this comms team who died to Grandma in a race yesterday.
Okay, I didn't mean for this to be a call-out post, but apparently this is now a call-out post on mytwitter.com for anyone who's died to Grandma in a race. Key once again taking the heroic strat but dunking.
I'm surprised that happens because with 3 arrows, I found that the platform kind of ends up a little bit closer. For Key, it seems to be traveling further than I would expect, so something weird there for sure. Note that Museus also had a very quick Frog King kill, so no real differentiator there, not separated more, not probably gaining any time on Key either.
Yeah, Key with a hard Frog King to gain time on, but good on Museus for keeping it as even as he can. Going into the Furnace split on Key's side. My personal favorite music in the game is the Furnace Gauntlet. Just the way everything lines up with the pistons is so beautifully designed.
Very clever element. I think the first time we all experienced it, we're like, wow, that's cool. Key notice does get the fast cycle in the first room, immediately bettering what he did last time.
Yeah, Museus, meanwhile, having a bit of trouble with that pipe roll. Gets it in 2, but that is a little bit of time loss.
That's one of those skips that at 2, it's still worth it, but when it gets to 3rd or 4th try, just give up and walk around. You getting the fast cycle here?
Yeah, this arena I've always loved on, because you're on 5 strength here, and so you just bully all of the enemies.
Museus fell off the platform there, so big time loss.com here. Because you have to like kind of stand on that platform to bring the door pull back. It's unfortunate to have to happen in the observation itself. It's not yet furnace. They're not enemies here to distract you. Ideally, you want to get everything perfect. But it's really hard to do in this game, getting stuff right, because
Yeah.
you have to switch between the combat mindset and then movement mindset and then right back into combat and do both at the same time. So tough game on your mental.
Just the slightest bit trolled on the minecart there, and is not going to get the extra piston. But that's the first, I think, major misstep we've seen. Not even major. In Inner Furnace here. He's been getting very clean cycles, had a very good combat arena. It is on Museus to match that.
Yes, did miss that first fast cycle, like we mentioned, smallest time loss there. Let's see how Key deals with these. Again, doing braziers at the same time. Key going slow. Museus got the fast light though. Key just taking his time on all three of these.
Yep, not something you want to concede that much time to. Especially not after a race this up and down.
Does not get the fastest cycle here. Will he get the second one? Not the second one either.
So, leave a little bit of a time gap for Museus to catch up, but that is certainly not going to cover the full minute and change.
Museus having some unclean sections of his own, so just a bit of trade back and forth. Neither runner really able to capitalize on the other's mistakes. That being said, Museus still has a little bit to go, so we'll be looking to see if things go really, really right or really, really wrong, or just about how they've been somewhere in the middle, not perfect, but not anything terrible either. Grandma fight.
He is, on the grandma fight, and already down at 2 health. Apparently, I should just not talk about the grandma fight, it turns out. The thing about grandma, of course, is that she does, for the boss that the game sort of intends for you to fight first, she does have just a truly absurd health pool. Which always struck me as a little bit weird, but, that is the major sort of deterrent. It's also why, of course, the 90% route does grandma last, so that you can have a strength 5 and a dex upgrade before it. But Key, despite the early damage, going to pull off a fairly clean grandma kill thereafter.
Very good job of just backing off at the moment that he needed to. Not taking any unnecessary risks at that point. That's the most important thing for him to have done, so gets through. Museus gets the fast cycle on both, so it does make up some amount of time, but like you said, not a big deal, not a big cover up for the rest of the mistakes. But that's all that he can do right now, is make up all of these small time differences as best as he can. I imagine he'll probably even go into Grandma with the 3 health.
That is a little bit spicy, given that he went down to 1 in the last race. But we'll see. At the best text box in the game, just a hair over 2 minutes separating the runners.
Makes sense. I do think he had a cleaner furnace overall, despite missing like a couple of those last cycles. Those really don't add up for as much as Museus missing railing skip and a few other small things. So Museus also down to 2 health immediately. I also noticed Museus likes to keep these green orbs alive for just long enough to give us a little bit of a heart attack.
Yeah, wow, that is...
Oh, no.
Getting hit on the hook shot out. Once again, it won into the pop phase.
Oh my. Scary situation. If you don't space yourself out, the hops can get you. Oof, no scary hook shots this time except right at the end.
No pressure. Even a little bit. But Museus going to not bleed any more time to Grandma. So gonna be probably lost a little bit of time on that grandma fight. Did have to go through most of the hopping phase, but going to be just a little bit over 2 minutes. This is still doable if Key dies, but shy of that. I think we are on a collision course with another 2-0, albeit a very exciting one.
Definitely, pretty much. Not only was it close, but it kept flip-flopping so far. And it's still not over, like you said. Things can really change very dramatically in these last few splits. We will see Key probably hedging his bets a lot and just playing super ultra safe to protect this lead. But
we have seen already, just in fairness, sort of the mental repair on Key's side. No more camera shake, no more Angie in chat. We're holding it together to advance to the Vorim fight.
yes, indeed. I'm sure both runners very excited to face up against the world record holder in a race that really matters. Semifinals of this tournament awaits whoever wins this. Grey Crow fight starting for Key here. Let's see how he fares.
Very similar to the last race. Fight starting as the cutscene is playing out on the other screen.
He had one of the cleanest Grey Crow fights in a long... I'm sure he would have been pretty happy about that. Might even have golded last time. We'll be looking to emulate that here.
Very clean deflect on a very close Crow. Alright,
On.
getting one.
More deflects. Good position to be in. Grey Crow has a lot of damage. Even with the 2 health, Key is probably feeling okay about this fight. Oh no, maybe not so much anymore, but still should be
right
able to.
here. Yes, alright.
Grey Crow really cooperating, standing still with that scream, or rather that spit attacks. It's the best time to do damage, but also time to be careful. Those murderlings can spawn on top of your face. It's RNG, and at that point, there's really nothing you can do. If it just spawns on top of you and damages you when you're at 1 health, it's kind of one of those moments where you can't do anything about it. Just pick yourself up and continue. Hopefully it doesn't happen to either of our runners. Did not happen for Key. Of course, he's heading into Gauntlet.
Yep, did get the fast shopkeeper there. Just some more minor time save. Cut off Museus from being able to claw his way back in any meaningful form. 119.48 through the gauntlet door.
Oh no, Museus instantly getting hit, going for the fast, heavy immediately on the Grey Crow, but a little out of position, now has to back off and go for the regular hook shots. But being in 2 health this early, and missing a couple of deflects as well, does mean
have
that...
to peel away on this Grey Crow fight, so gonna be losing a little bit more time. Hopefully can dodge a death here. Would be of massive importance, because if Museus dies late stage to Grey Crow, it may be put out of his reach, even with a Gauntlet or Ultra Lord death from Key.
Playing it well though, it's gotten a lot of damage in. This Scream will probably kill Grey Crow right there.
Yeah. Good handling of the end of the fight. Bit of a scary beginning.
No first fast door. Have seen some runners go for it, but by and large has been eschewed by the community in this race. Key missing the heavy strats on this particular flavor of Lord of Doors and miscounting once again by 1. We did see that happen a couple of times in the last run. You need 15 lights equivalent of damage on the Lord of Doors there. You can do that, of course, in lights and heavies. You just have to count it out accurately. He going for the heavy slashes again. Gets it this time. Should be getting the fast door and the quick entry. Nice work there. I noticed Key.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I noticed Key goes for the 1 slash after the hook shot rather than the 2 that you ideally want to do for that heavy strat that Key is doing. But small thing, still manages to get it done.
Yeah, so Museus entering the gauntlet door about 215 behind. So late stage gauntlet death as Key hits 2 HP here. You can get bullied by the last set of door bulls into falling off. I've seen it happen. I've been a victim of it personally. But shy of that, very much Key's race to win.
Yeah, with this last section, Key is very experienced. Can do safe things here to get by, so should be expecting clean entry into the Lord of Doors fight. Yeah. Key making it hard for Museus here to keep up, and that's all that he really needed to do at the end of it. The mistake from Museus is probably going to prove to be too much, unless, of course, Key chain dies here. Again, always a possibility. Nothing can be really counted out in this game, but very small chance of that happening. At Key's level of play, he's very comfy with the fight, and not just with the fast fight, but with going slow if things go wrong, and being able to recover. So
yeah, very good game sense from both of these runners to be able to back up your strats, to be able to back up your combat. So I would be surprised personally. Not going to get the double 1-1x also. We passed that threshold a while ago with some of the early game stumbles from these runners. It's still going to be very clean final times from both of our racers as we look down the last split.
Interesting note, both runners are already behind their first race time. So to some extent, like you said, the early game, I don't know what caused it, whether it was going into a second race soon after a first one, or tiredness or fatigue, whatever it may be. Definitely some more mistakes made in this run than the last one. Neither runner got petty gauntlet roll skip, by the way. Museus just missing it by 1 hit.
Very tough one, and Key right before the nuke from Lord of Doors there, gonna finish out with a 1:24.15. Still a commendable race time. We can't always get the 45-second PB in a no reset setting, but phenomenal showing from Key across 2 races today, and Museus entering the final fight as the credits roll on the left side.
Big GG's to Key. Does take this race and this match as well. We'll be going on to face Vareem, and that's going to be a very exciting match to see as well. But for now, let's see how Museus deals with Lord of Doors as he finishes off his race.
Yeah, also undercut the PB, but still capable of finishing very solid time. Get a low 126.
Yeah, but cannot be overstated. Both runners have put on a show here. Really exciting race. And for large parts of it, we really didn't know who was going to take it.
Yeah, it just goes to show you how much can be done to handle a lot in this game as well. Like, obviously on a very micro level, but even on some macro levels with safety seed routing, with some fight approaches from both sides, there is room for a lot of ingenuity in this game to be able to make it to the final slash on Lord of Doors, which is coming up here in just a sec for Museus. Yeah,
There we
final
go.
time 126.36.
And GG's.
GG's to runners.
Let's bring both runners in. How are you feeling, Key?
Angry. No, I'm feeling okay. I was gonna say, I do think it's pretty great that We were neck and neck. We both made some like minor mistakes throughout the whole thing. I had one unfortunate death, and you had one unfortunate death, but that ice arena one was just enough to like make it like definitely edged out. If that death didn't happen, we were basically neck and neck to the final punch, and that's just
Yeah.
hype.
Yep. Museus, how are you feeling for that run?
That was such a like frustrating death. I saw the archer. I was like, I have to move past the archer, and then I moved too early, and the archer got me.
Yeah, that arena is the tough one.
The Archer windup period is 13 years. It's unreal.
What's wild is that like that is one of the only things that I like really put time into practicing, and I did not die to Ice Arena a single time during practice. Died everywhere else in the run, but not Ice Arena.
It's a doozy. Thank you for that race. I thought even though that last one had me frustrated the whole time, I had a blast, and I'm really glad to go against someone as formidable. Both having like Jay coming at me last week, cutting an hour and a half after his PB coming after me, and then this one where we both were neck and neck for so long has made for some really fun races. So like real big thank you.
Thanks to you too. Congrats on your PB.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you both runners. Thank you commentator. Please check out the commentator, the runners. They all stream. Let's see. Right. So we also have a match tomorrow for semifinals. So it'll be TFT versus our own Tresh in the commentary booth. This will be at 3 p.m. EST. So please check that out tomorrow. Anything else I'm forgetting? I think that's all the announcements. Thank you everybody for joining us. Catch y'all later.